My name is JD, and this is TJ.
No. My name is JD, this is TJ, and RTX2014 in Austin was a blast. A good friend of the show, Ivana Lynn, told us Operation Supply Drop was going to be in attendance.
Operation Supply Drop is a military-minded charity that brings soldiers deployed and recovering video game care packages. Today's military heroes are gamers too. They explain that video games is a mind-humbling escape and a part of everyone's lives.
It's really amazing what these guys do for our heroes in arms. We spoke to Glenn and Steve about Operation Supply Drop, in its inception, public involvement, and how you could help. Send support by visiting operationsupply.drop.org or visit ultness.com and click that like and subscribe button.
Put your controllers down, listen up, and salute American hero Steve and Commander Glenn of Operation Supply Drop.
He's not really a commander. He's kind of a commander. He commands something, but
Operation Supply Drop. Yeah.
Does operations.
Yeah.
Here I have Glenn and Steve. These guys are the object of Operation Supply Drop. How you guys doing today?
Doing good. Sunday.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
So you guys have a booth over here. What are you guys having people do for Operation Supply Drop?
Well, right now, we are promoting 8-Bit Salute 2015, which sounds crazy because 2015 is quite a ways off. But when we finished up our event this year, 2014, it was May 17th and 18th. And then the event ended in early June. And the outcry from the supporters and the Rooster Teeth community was, well, we want to continue helping the troops. We got to do something. We want to do something. Why don't you just do 8-Bit Salute again? So we just started up the sign-ups again for May of next year. But people are able to, this gives people an outlet for, folks that wanted to do stuff over the 4th of July or folks that wanted to help out the troops for Veterans Day. It gives them an option to get involved and do events pretty much throughout the year and have it go into the larger, pool that eventually will become 8-Bit Salute for next year. So,
cool. Well, I mean, let's backtrack just a little bit. What is Operation Supply Drop? What do you guys do for the troops?
Well, that's been changing a lot too. This has been a breakout year for us. Originally, starting in November of 2010, we started building care packages for troops deployed to combat zones. And then when that started to, we wanted to continue to change the mission as, combat was starting to lighten up in Afghanistan. And they're starting to say the end of formal combat operations in 2015 sometime. So we were looking at other ways. So we started increasing to, reaching out to hospitals and soldiers recovering in military hospitals. And then it became live events on military posts. And we're expanding our programs now almost exponentially. We've got a whiteboard with almost a dozen different things by the end of 2015 we hope to be involved with, so.
Just to kind of to expand on those, I mean, really what has changed about our mission is how we're, overlapping the troops and the military community we have with the gaming community. Because at the end of the day, we all talk about it, gaming is part of culture. And that doesn't change if, you're a civilian that's 25 or if you're enlisted that's 25. And so that's one of those connective tissues that, again, we feel it is our responsibility to, not just send these care packages downrange or, we jokingly as a tagline say, make fun where there is none, but all right, when they're out, when they're done with their 4 years or their 10 years, whatever happened, then what? And they want to get into gaming and we want to figure out how to, again, like I said, connect those dots, help them, meet some of the people that we know, hear some of the success stories in gaming from other veterans and help, again, just have that influence that's positive so we're not leaving any of these guys behind.
Yeah, I mean, your terms are really out there when you guys do deployments and stuff like that. Games get released and, like we were talking about before, there's guys that are in the military that are just as gamers as we are, just as nerdy as we are, but, they support for our freedom. You guys don't give that disconnection away from them. You're actually bringing them back, giving them some sensibility of being a part of the world, and not feel like you're left alone or remote out there. So both of you guys said you were in the military, correct?
I was. Glenn was not.
Okay.
He somehow has gone by the handle Commander, and I'm not sure how that started or what the story is with that, but he's just Commander Glenn, and so everybody thinks, oh, he was in the Navy. He was a boat captain.
I have a beard.
So now he just looks like a government contractor.
I like guns. If you look it up on the internet, that's well known. So I'm not afraid to say it.
I think a good portion of Texas likes guns too. We stand heavily about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was 8 years Army, and did some time overseas, couple tours, Iraq, Kosovo. I'm trying to think what else. But yeah, when I got back from Iraq, it was just it took me a while to get accustomed to not thinking that things were going to blow up around me and we're going to get shot at, or having to scan for, horizon lines, anybody standing on rooftops. And it's weird to go from that mentality where you're outside the wire and you're driving around all day to going to the mall for a pair of jeans or something, and it's just like, what in the world? Like, it's a very jarring reality.
Yeah, your vision of everything around you, you're still on edge, that you still think you're on, no, I don't want to say on the field and everything, but you're still scanning for everything, which that could stress you out. And
it took a while for me to get out of that mentality, and it wasn't full-on PTSD as everybody, like I didn't have anything like that happen, but we had one of the big things overseas, like in Afghanistan or Iraq. They just leave their trash everywhere, and so there's just piles of trash everywhere. So on trash day back home, I would see piles of trash, and I would know in my head, like, they're not going to blow up, but they are good places to hide explosives for insurgents, because there's just, it just looks like it's something
in your mind.
Right, so you get that, like, so trash day was like, I couldn't leave that. Like, I was like, I just don't even want to deal with it today. And one of the things that got me through that silliness was World of Warcraft, ironically, because it was vanilla World of Warcraft came out 1 month after I redeployed from Iraq. And I was so, like, I was into MMOs and things like that at the time, but when I got back, I was like, everybody was saying, this is the MMO you want to get. And I got it, and it was like just, it was definitely like just a stress reliever, just 12 hours a day of just grinding out but I was so busy doing that, I would go out and I would drive around and do things, and I'd just be thinking about, like, oh, I got to get back and play Warcraft. I got to go back and play this game. I got to go back. I wasn't thinking, exactly, I was so busy, like, I got to get back, that I wasn't even thinking about it. I got over that stupid, like, all right, I'm going outside, I'm getting in the car again. It's weird.
Is that where the baby steps of Operation Supply Drop started?
No, that actually happened while I was in Iraq. One of the care packages that we got, and civilians like sending care packages to troops. Just generic, like, they want to help the troops, and there are a lot of organizations that are out there helping the troops, and we appreciate what they do. But it is very much a small time, like, baby powder and wet wipes and Girl Scout cookies kind of thing. And it's,
yeah, I heard you guys are sick of Girl Scout cookies.
Oh no, I'll tell you what. There's certainly areas where Girl Scout cookies are a godsend, but it's also one of those things where it's like, you're 22, you're 23, you're a rifleman or you're an artillery guy. You got 320 days left in your deployment. A box of Girl Scout cookies is good for about 10 minutes, and you're like, all right, well, that's forgettable. But video games and the care package that I was telling you about, the bad care package we got was a crate full of third-hand, like, very well-used Harlequin romance novels from a library. Yep, that's right. And it was sent to an infantry company of all dudes. So it was like one of this, like, Fabio books that were well used. Yep. It was some library just clean up, but it was, and I always used the analogy of the 5th grade canned food drive, where it was like, people want to help out, but it's very much like a backhanded effort. Like, well, let's check the pantry. Oh, I got this dented can of yams, like, oh, we'll send that in. And next thing you know, you got a 5th grade class of 26 cans of dented yams. It's like, well, this is
not helping us.
That's exactly the point. Like, do you feel that you feel like you're accomplishing something, but in reality, you're wasting time and energy. You're not doing anything. So that was like people want to help, but they don't know how to help. And so we are giving them an opportunity to really provide something that guys want. And let's face it, nowadays, as we were talking earlier, 18 to 30-year-olds, that is the military demographic, and everybody plays video games. And if they don't, you've got a full year and a half or 6 months or however long you're over there. You eat, you lift, you do your job, you go outside the wire, you come home, and then you've got another 6 to 8 hours of just kind of staring at the ceiling like, all right, now what? And guys get into trouble. They got nothing better to do. So you hear stories about troopers, doing fight clubs, and just because there's nothing to do. So it's important that we are able to provide folks an outlet so they don't go crazy thinking about what's going on back home. My son was born 6 days after I deployed, or we're trying to give them a taste of home and get their mind off where they're at and having a good time, like a good experience, like a Call of Duty tournament between the guys and talking smack to one another. And we've heard stories about guys coming back with our supply drops where they're like, all I could think about was getting back to the day room so we could sit and get back into that, tournament that we were having. And that's the kind of stuff where it's just, that's exciting. That is it's nice to know we're able to make that kind of an impact doing what we're doing and doing what we love. Like he and I we're dedicated to this.
We're deep in this. Well, and
it's so much fun too. It's like, it's great. We get those pictures back, guys just holding stuff up and they just, your regular.
You guys made that happen.
Not just that, but I mean, those guys are making like enlisted wages. I mean, that's like some assistant manager at McDonald's levels.
Yeah.
Like $30,000-$40,000, and then you get combat tax exemption and all that. But it's nothing at the end of the day. So when you send out over a crate full of like $3,000 worth of video games, you blow their minds. Like that is like
anyone getting a crate of $3,000
absolutely.
of video games is a good thing.
But again, it's one of those. This is one of those things that people don't know that. Again, they think the Girl Scout cookie, mindset where it's like, oh yeah, we're helping the troops, but this is actually.
Yeah.
So you can go spend the same money instead of 3 boxes of Girl Scout cookies, and you could get a used copy of Call of Duty or Medal of Honor or something like that, and you'll have a lasting impact that not only will probably affect whoever we send it to, but a lot of these guys leave it behind, or they hand it to the whoever's coming in after them. They'll hand this thing, hand the system, and a lot of the game's over. So I mean, it's absolutely incredible. Another thing I kind of wanted to add, even a lot of these gentlemen that do have PTSD now. One of the great things in 2014 is even if you're a hermit in your own house, and this would have been terrible 20 years ago if you're looking at past wars, but they're sitting around playing video games. So even though they have a lot mentally going on and they're having a lot that they need to cope with, there's still a window. There is something that we have that we can figure out to get through to them. So, we're talking about doing things like a full-time Operation Supply Drop Twitch broadcast, which is almost exclusively military, because all these are good people, but they just don't feel comfortable yet getting out. So we're trying to, again, give them the opportunity to not only communicate with, their brothers and sisters in arms, but also communicate with some civilians that love video games and the same thing. And who knows, maybe it turns into a friendship or a job or whatever.
Yeah, you guys are, to me, it seems like you guys are closing the gap between being, out there and trying to recover back into regular life. What I was just thinking before when you said when you were dropping off novels, when people were dropping off those novels, nerd culture, it stemmed from, fantasy novels and stuff like that. So video games is an interactive book for them to spend eons, hours onto and have a camaraderie among other guys at the same token. And it's really good. And, I'm happy to interview you guys because at least now I know I need to look for these guys. I need to help these guys out and do something. Because I also have friends out in the military or have served in the military.
And everybody does. Everybody has a brother's cousin's roommate that's, he's deployed to Afghanistan right now. He's getting ready to go to Kuwait to get ready for Iraq 3 or whatever we're doing over there now. I mean, there's always, and, people have always asked, like, are you guys going to start, what are you guys going to do when all the wars are over? And it's like, well, first off, America. We'll pick a fight with somebody eventually. And a lot of people don't think, and one of the major, transition points from us doing just care packages is helping out troops in military hospitals. Their ward, when they come back from Landstuhl, which is one of the big German outposts where they, stabilize troops that are severely injured, their ward just starts when they get home. Mm-hmm. And they are in a military hospital just doing PT and just getting physical training for like 5 years. Like
war is never over. I mean, when it comes to a personal war, there's, they need time to recover, and it's not about sending care packages out to them. It's about caring for your soldiers at the end of the day.
And that's that's a big problem nowadays. Is now that if Iraq's starting to warm back up, but if Afghanistan just shut down, Iraq shut down and there were no wars, people would just forget about the military. I mean, if you ask your average civilian out there, they don't even know Afghanistan is going on.
Well, not to mention, we have people from Fort Hood that are buddies of ours that another 1,000 just went to Afghanistan, in the past week, and nobody realizes this.
I mean, for as much as they're, the status of forces agreement that they're coming up with for Afghanistan, where they're starting to draw down Afghanistan, we're still going to be there. 5 years at this point. Like, I know they're trying to pull people out, but there's yeah, it's one of those things. It's like they're going to shut down Guantanamo too. So
Yeah, it's all political. At the end of the day, it's all political. But you guys are here to help help our brothers and sisters out there.
Exactly.
So, what can we expect from you guys in the later future? I know you guys have a lot of things on the whiteboard. What conventions are you looking into doing next?
All of them. All of them. I mean, we have PAX Prime coming up here. That's really soon. That's a month from now.
August, end of August.
End of August. We'll be doing some stuff at IndieCade. We actually have a really interesting project that'll be launching later this month that has a lot to do with indie development. And we found that that's a community that's very much in support of the military, and we'd like to facilitate them as a specific gaming community doing so. Other things I think you'll see is like the thank you deployment, which is where we sponsor a trooper, most likely they're a wounded warrior, wounded vet, take them to an E3 at PAX, a studio tour, give them kind of the VIP behind the curtain. Look at these things, and we found that those are not only incredible for the person we're taking with us, but it's great for everybody that gets to interact with them. And again, it's something we provide is that ability to see what you're supporting. I mean, that's one of the difficulties. I mean, we're a charity. I mean, we rely on our community, but a lot of charities have a difficult time connecting the dots between support and the beneficiary, and we can put those two things together, in a good way.
So how can we get in touch with you guys if we wanted to send any kind of support or contact or what have you?
Just head over to operationsupply.org. That's the main site. We've already started up registrations for 8-Bit Salute 2015, which is literally just a place where people can go to do their own events throughout the course of the year. But that's a place where you can do financial fundraising, cash donations, and then we also take physical donations. We've got addresses there on the site. If you click the Donate Now button, it's not just cash, but it lists the address that you can send, physical donations. Obviously we're going to new gen, so a bunch of people have PS3s and Xbox 360s. They want to unload, and they don't want to get $12 at GameStop for it. So this is a much better option.
To someone that will benefit it.
Exactly.
So, but yeah, those are some of the things. We're on Twitter. Twitter is OP Supply Drop on Twitter.
Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook. Like us on. We're almost at 5,000 likes on Facebook. That's
pretty much Google Operation Supply Drop, and you guys are all there.
You will see. I mean, we've had great. That's the thing we've been really growing. Kotaku's covered us. We had a great article on Polygon in the last year. We've had past articles in Forbes. And that's the thing is all we care about is the mission of supporting the troops. And in our case, we do it within gaming. And we just want people to know they should support the troops. And if there's an alignment with our particular method of doing so, we want to find a way to partner. So if you're an individual, if you're a YouTube streamer, if you're a Boy Scout group, whatever, we will, if you want to run a Tough Mudder and do it for the troops, via Operation Supply Drop, we can facilitate all of that. That's really how we've been trying to structure the organization.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you guys spending some time with us over here at Ultness. I'll probably see you guys at another convention.
Yes.
PAX Prime, and I think we're scheduled out for PAX South whenever that pops up.
This
January 2015.
I already reserved my room.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, guys.